What's up guys, I'm Phoenix Master 1 and welcome to my unit review and builds guide for our latest render of battle unit, Glen. So he's a sword flyer with Sunstone's Blade as his preferred weapon. This gives him +3 defense, and to the allies in 3 rows and 3 columns centered on him, he can give them +4 attack and defense in the combat, and they also heal up 10 HP after their combat. So the post HP healing is a pretty good supportive effect that he has got. And then for his own combat, if he initiates combat or if he has an ally in 3 rows or 3 columns area, then he's able to get +5 to all of his stats, and he also inflicts additional penalty on foes' attack and defense depending on 20% of his visible defense, and his visible defense is quite high. So at the bare minimum, this is going to be -10 attack and defense debuff, and at max investment, this is going to be about 13. He also gets flat damage reduction based on 15% of his defense, except for the AoE specials. So this is the unpierceable damage reduction, which is really coveted. And then he also gets the guaranteed follow-up attack, and he himself can also heal up 10 HP after the combat. So a lot of healing that we see nowadays is 7 HP, so he provides that 10 HP healing, which is good. And I think that if he came out a while ago, then he would have been even better, because we have a lot of supportive units that can provide you the healing, and we also have Breath of Life 4. So while this weapon is pretty nice at the moment, in the future it is going to be getting a lot of competition, because we still get a lot of free-to-play units with good supportive niches, so they are going to be challenging Glen in that category. And he is a flying unit, so he can definitely run some additional supportive options like Truck Scale, Rain Snap, or Soaring Echo. And with his high base 47 defense, he's going to be really tanky against the physical attacks, and he also has solid base 45 attack. His speed does seem a bit weird, but it is good enough to use Wyvern Rift, which does matter for him as a tanky flyer. And when it comes to skill, he does come with Wyvern Flight at 4 stars, so inheriting Wyvern Rift is going to be pretty easy on him. And it is also going to be easy to inherit Soaring Guidance, because he does have Flyer Guidance 3 at 5 star. So if you have used a lot of Travant for this skill, now you could spend your grails or even the free copies for getting Flyer Guidance out of Glen. So overall, he's a pretty solid unit, all things considered, and we get a lot of tanky flyers, but at the very least, he has got a preferred weapon that can improve his combat and also provide some support. He could be compared to some of the other free-to-play flyers, and Ashnard is definitely going to be a big one. He did get a pretty good weapon refine, and Ashnard does have a lot more resistance and a bit balanced bulk, so he's able to deal with a lot of threats, which is not going to be the case with Glen with his resistance. And Arian is also another point of comparison. He does have the chart status for the flying allies, and if you're going to be wanting to run a lot of flyers, then Arian is going to be providing better support. But outside of that, the healing is pretty helpful in something like Arena. And when it comes to these supportive flyers, we also have a lot of competition, so he could be compared to Gaul and Ashnard. Gaul recently did get a weapon refine, and Ashnard does give you the follow-up denial and the guard effect. You could argue that follow-up denial is not the greatest effect because of all of the null follow-up, and you could even argue that guard is also not that insane because a lot of nukes do have null guard, but still Ashnard provides that lull attack defense -5 debuff, which is really helpful for the other tanks. Gaul provides the -5 attack and defense debuff, and he has got the Crux effect built in this weapon, so he can enable the guaranteed follow-up attacks for his allies, and he also gets the guard effect just like Ashnard. Again, guard effect might not be that insane depending on who you ask. And when it comes to the combat, Glen is going to be having an upper hand. He's basically like a modern Carmack without the null guard effect, and the flat damage reduction can definitely help you quite a lot with his high defense. And he also gets the Omni +5 and still debuffs the enemy for their attack and defense. So overall, I would say that when it comes to the supportive flyers, Ashnard and Gaul are going to be better. But if you want a bit of both of the worlds, then Glen could be a decent option because of his healing and also the better combat. The main use case for Glen is definitely going to be in Arena, as he's a 200 BSG scoring flyer with distant counter melee sacred seal, and he's going to be scoring same as Arian. But like I said, if you don't really have that many flying units, then Glen could be used, especially if you have some of the other tanks as part of your arena core. If you have more player phase focus team, then Arian could provide you the chart status, and there are units like Fallen Lloyd, Fargus, and Murdoch who are going to be scoring higher because of having a preferred weapon and higher BST, being an infantry or an armor unit. And High Dragon Wall female Kana is also an option now because High Dragon Wall does score higher than any of the other slot B skills, which does make her a pretty unique unit without a preferred weapon that can score the highest. Overall, Glen has got a pretty solid weapon that can give him the flat damage reduction, which is good as a free-to-play unit, and also the healing support, which is going to be helping you in the limited battles if nothing else. And in Arena, he's going to be a free-to-play scoring option, but like I said, there are going to be a lot of units that he could use for their support, so the supportive niche has got a lot of competition nowadays, and even when it comes to the healing, there are quite a bit of units. There's Gatekeeper if you want to use him with the warp blocking, and he also has the healing in the same range as Glen, but he doubles down on the support even more. And because Glen doesn't have a minus and special cooldown weapon, you're going to be relying heavily on Emblem Marth to have a 2 cooldown no quarter that he could retaliate back with some support. And the next BST bump is going to be in Choose Your Legend, so his main use case is in Arena, and if you're wanting to look out for better options, then you could definitely wait until then because he's going to be getting added in September. Cyril did happen in the last Choose Your Legend, so it could happen again, and maybe you could get another solid rail free-to-play option. If you're going to be building up Glen on a super budget, then he could be run with Fury. He doesn't really have any kind of HP threshold in his weapon, so the chip damage is not the biggest deal, and the extra visible defense is going to be helping him with Wyvern Flight. So this is a build you could use for limited battles and just for the general use. But if you're going to be investing a bit more into him, then you could run him with the fodder of Divine Codes. So you could get Guard Bearing 4 and Attack Defense Oath from Nabata Juno, and this is going to be giving you some regular damage reduction to make you a lot more tanky with the flat damage reduction of his weapon. And Attack Defense Catch could be an option that you could run in his slot A from Divine Codes. Attack Defense Clash or Attack Defense Unity could also be run. There are also valid options, and at high investment you could even run him with Earthfire Boost if you really want to get that guard effect, and you could even run Soaring Guidance in his slot C if you don't really plan on giving him Soaring Echo as the attune skill. For a special, you could run No Quarter, which is going to be giving you that damage reduction piercing, and while this is available in Divine Codes, if you don't really have it, then you can just run something like Bonfire or even Moonbow. If you want to build up Glen to his max potential, then you're going to be needing Rosado because Wyvern Rift is the best slot B skill that you could run on him. So the thing with Guard Bearing is that there's a lot of damage reduction piercing nowadays on nukes, so the regular damage reduction just doesn't cut it, and you can stack it up with the flat damage reduction of Wyvern Rift, which is going to be using your speed and defense. And like I said, his speed is good enough to make use of this, and Earthwind Boost could also be inherited at the same time from Rosado, and this is going to be giving you the guard effect, which is something that he doesn't have. And he could double down on the healing support by running Breath of Life 4, so this works out really well for him because he does have high defense, so he's going to be getting a lot of healing, and he can give his allies even more healing out of the slot C skill. And if you have an attuned Ivy, then Soaring Echo is going to be the best attuned skill that you could run on him because you're going to be getting the guard effect out of the Earthwind Boost. So guard attuned skill is not really needed, and this is going to be enabling the warping of your allies. Another good skill that you could run on him is Odd Defense Wave. So his high defense is going to be enabling the tempo effect, and he doesn't really have the null guard effect like his brother Cormac. So this is going to be helpful with allies like Summer Ingrid, Young Minerva, or Legend Hinoka, or just any kind of unit that can give you the special charges status. So the special charges has got good synergy with his tempo effect, and so does the guard effect out of his slot A skill. So the enemy is not charging their specials unless they have null guard themselves, and this is a max investment build which will need some team building to support him. His main competitive use is going to be in Arena, so he could be run with Wyvern Rift and the fodder of Rosado, and Speed Defense Rain Snap is obtainable from Divine Codes. So it is a really good slot C skill for improving the mobility of your units, and you also provide the warping support with Soaring Echo. You will be needing Distant Counter Melee Sacred Seal if you want to have the max scoring on him as a 200 BST unit. And if you have some free-to-play units that want to tank like Fallen Lloyd and Newer Female Kana, then the healing is going to be going a long way in Arena. I want to thank all of my YouTube members for their constant support, and you can click the link on your screen right now to check out my breakdown of this banner, and make sure to subscribe and hit the notification bell because YouTube sub boxes are about as functional as Glen against Falter. So with that said, I'll see you guys next time. Thank you so much for watching and have a great day.